Inside the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre is preserved the place where there was the encounter between the risen Jesus and Mary Magdalene, whose feast is celebrated on July the 22nd. According to the latest data from the Israeli Ministry of Tourism, the number of people visiting the Holy Land keeps growing. Besides the visit to the holy places, the organized pilgrimages are including always more moments of contact with local life. Many Christians of the Holy Land, not only Maronites, have come to Isefia, Mount Carmel and Bethlehem to celebrate Saint Charbel, a Lebanese saint very popular in the Middle East. Canon law and marriage norms were the focus of a conference organized in Jordan by the Ecclesiastical Tribunal of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, in collaboration with the Pontifical Lateral University of Rome. The Comboni sisters make a decisive and faithful contribution of time they spend at the Bedouin village of Al-Kasarat, between Jerusalem and Jericho. Among these, there is also Sister Azezet. A course was held in Bethlehem in which professors and university lecturers guided 20 students in learning about the use of music therapy techniques. Flowers, candles, incense and clothes, all ready to celebrate the one who first announced the risen Christ. Mary Magdalene met Jesus here. She was afraid because she didn't know he was the Lord. For us who are here in the Holy Sepulchre, it is a solemn place, because we are in the exact place where their meeting happened. On the wall of the Basilica there is a painting depicting the encounter between Mary Magdalene and Christ. It portrays Jesus as the guardian of the garden, according to the feeling that the saint had before recognizing the Master by his voice. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" She thought that he was the guardian of the garden and said to him, "Lord, if you have taken him away, take me where you have placed him and I will go and get him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." Then turning towards him, she said in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means master. And it was here, inside the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre, that this biblical episode took place.
Maria Magdalena come prima donna, la donna coraggiosa.
Mary Magdalene is a brave woman full of trust and faith. She's the first woman who went to the disciples saying, "I was sent to say that Jesus has risen."
Andata dire, sono stata mandata per dire che Gesù è risorto.
Brother Fergus Clark presided over the Mass dedicated to the saint in the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre. In his homily, Brother Clark spoke of the courage of Mary Magdalene, saying that she is for us an example of the ability to face situations of risk and fear with courage. What Mary Magdalene did when she went to the tomb was not an impulsive action. She had all Saturday, the day after the crucifixion, to reflect on her dangerous idea and to change it because of fear. Despite this, she decided to go early, before the sunrise. For this pilgrim, being able to attend Mass at this place was unforgettable.
I think the Mass here is very different from the Mass in Occident, because it's more solemn, more calm, more meditative, and really when we enter in the Holy Sepulchre, we are asked to be we are calm, we are serene, so it's very different.
The number of people visiting the Holy Land keeps growing. They are tourists, pilgrims, faithful of different religions. In addition to visiting the holy places, organized pilgrimages are also including more and more moments of contact with the local population, meetings, visits to charitable realities. This group of 300 pilgrims came from Bergamo, one of the Italian dioceses with the highest number of pilgrims, 13,000 in 10 years, and was led by their bishop. They met, for example, Effetah community, which takes care of deaf-mute children in Bethlehem, and attended the final show of a summer camp for Arab children in Jerusalem, a show dedicated to the meeting between St. Francis and the Sultan, which took place 800 years ago.
Ne è uscito un messaggio di grande intensità.
The result was a message of great intensity, a not-so-simple encounter that we want to pursue with care and above all with trust in our time. in the Holy Land, but also in other countries.
ma anche in tutti i nostri paesi.
The faithful come from all continents. Father Manuel comes from Brazil, and as head of the Pastoral Ministry of Tourism of the Brazilian National Conference of Bishops, he often works on pilgrimage projects in the holy places. He explains that making a pilgrimage to the Holy Land is a special experience in everyone's life. Coming here is a truly unique experience, and I hope that from this holy place the love, tenderness and mercy of this God who loves us without limits can come into the life of each one of us. The increased number of people visiting the Holy Land in recent years can also be seen from the latest data published by the Ministry of Tourism of Israel. According to these data, in June 2019 there were about 365,000 incoming tourists in Israel, an increase of 17.7% compared to the same month of the previous year. 2018 was a peak year for Israel, with over 4 million tourists. You can see it with your eyes, the holy places are increasingly crowded, with numerous organized groups of pilgrims led to the encounter with this land, and in particular with the places of the life of Jesus. It is an experience, that of the guide, absolutely interesting, because to teach you have to learn. The richness is such that sometimes pilgrims are a bit scared. Everyone brings something home, but that's okay. According to the data of the Israeli Ministry of Tourism, more than half of those who arrive in the Holy Land are under 44 years old. As far as religions are concerned, they are really varied, even if more than half of them are Christians.
I lived many years in Argentina. My dream since I was there, as I lived with many religions, many Jews and many Muslims, was to come to Israel and get to know other realities. It was really exciting. Just today, I was telling a friend that I had never experienced such a place where I could find so many religions together.
Saint Charbel is a sign of unity. His figure, like his miracles, has no geographical or religious limits. Many Christians, not only Maronites of the Holy Land, have come to Isefia, Mount Carmel and Bethlehem to celebrate this very popular saint in the Middle East. This is a very joyful day, not only to give importance to the person, to the man, but to give importance to God, to His glory, because He chose this saint, this person. A leading figure in the Maronite Church, chosen by God as the parish priest of the town near Haifa, stressed to bring a sign among the people in the time in which he lived.
Saint Charbel is, some person that you don't have to talk about, because his work is what he's doing in all the world is talking about him. He's the doctor of heaven, because he makes a lot of miracles, yes, and he cures a lot of people, Christians, Muslims, Jews. It's amazing. He's a very special one. And
in the Holy Land, the Maronite community has 11,000 faithful throughout Israel, Palestine and Jordan. We have 3 parishes, 3 centres dedicated to Saint Charbel. This was founded in 1964 with the construction of this church. There is a convent in Bethlehem since 1986, and we opened a parish in Amman in 2000-2003, all dedicated to Saint Charbel.
Hanno inaugurato una parrocchia dedicata a Santo Charbel.
The life of the Lebanese hermit monk, who still gathers thousands of devotees around him, is an example for everyone. He lived as a hermit, not to escape from the world, as this way of life suggests, but to unite himself to God without isolating himself from reality, but for his love and that of the whole world. With the support of His Excellency Monsignor Pierbattista Pizzaballa and in collaboration with the Pontifical Lateran University of Rome, the Ecclesiastical Tribunal of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem organized at the Movenpick Resort in Jordan the 8th annual conference of canon law entitled "Towards a Continuous Education in Canon Law," in matrimonial matters, problems, provisions and procedures in canon law.
أهمية هذا المؤتمر إنه هذا المؤتمر هو المؤتمر الثامن بمعنى ضمان استمرارية.
This conference is important to ensure continuing education and work with lawyers and judges to provide adequate knowledge of canon law, as well as the exchange of shared jurisprudential experiences between churches. Furthermore, it is important to deepen work knowledge and provide better pastoral, judicial and legal support to young couples in particular, but also those with ongoing cases.
خدمة قضائية وقانونية أفضل للأزواج بشكل خاص المتداعين أمام المحاكم الكنسية.
This year, the conference saw a wide participation of jurists from Iraq, Egypt, Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, and also from the host country, Jordan, as well as representatives of all the Eastern Catholic churches present in the Middle East, such as the Maronite, Greek Catholic, Syriac, Armenian, Chaldean, Coptic, and Assyrian Chaldean churches. Our participation as an Egyptian delegation today at this conference in Jordan is very important. We urgently and constantly need to update and renew our information and experiences and exchange views on specific topics, particularly those relating to invalidity of marriage, but also to support and accompany it. In a conference held by Monsignor Hanna Alwan, Patriarchal Vicar for Legal and Judicial Affairs of the Maronite Patriarchate, the consequences in canon law of sexual harassment were discussed, while the topic of maturity and legal requirements for marriage was presented by His Excellency Dr. Hani Bakoum, Patriarchal Vicar of the Coptic Catholic Church in Egypt. Professor Conde of the Pontifical Lateran University of Rome spoke in his paper about the canonical perspective of marriage to be presented to couples.
Il punto principale che abbiamo voluto trattare è che le persone che si dedicano alla pastorale.
The main point discussed today concerns people who devote themselves to pastoral work, parish priests, priests who can present to people who are about to marry the values of canon law, so that they will not see the law as something opposite to love, freedom and joy, which are typical of marriage. Because the law is not only about remembering sacrifices, renunciations, obligations, but about helping people to understand the values that are within the norms.
Ricordare I sacrifici, le rinunce, gli obblighi, e quindi aiutarli a comprendere nelle norme I valori che stanno dietro. Le aspettative principali è aiutare, come dice il titolo.
The main expectation is to help, as the title of the conference states, to give continuous and permanent training in canon law, not only for experts, not only for lawyers, judges, but also for catechists, pastors and priests.
Anche per catechisti, per parroci e sacerdoti.
Water is the most precious asset and also the most difficult to have in the village of Al-Qasar Ali. 60 years old, 11 children, shows us the counter that has been stopped for several months now. No one can reconnect the water, also because many of the metal shacks in which the 37 Bedouin families live could be demolished any day. It's one of our problems, said the village chief. And now we have to pay the lawyer too. The NGO that was helping us no longer has funds for this. Life is almost suspended in Al-Azezet, as in the other 26 Bedouin villages scattered between Jerusalem and Jericho. They live in the so-called Area C, under the civilian and military control of the Israelis, on which depend the permits to build and access primary services. The electricity comes from solar panels, donated by another NGO. The Comboni sister, such as Azezet, who is now a member of the village, make another decisive and faithful contribution over time.
Vedono I nostri lavori, ci invitano, noi mai andiamo a dirgli vogliamo fare questo.
They see our work and they invite us, but we tell them we want to do this or that. We have 8 kindergartens and we provide training to women, for example in hairdressing, sewing and cooking, and in caring for children who are the most in need, the most miserable. Not the land, not the place, they are really the neediest.
Veramente sono I più poveri.
Music has always been a part of everyone. It relaxes, frees from tensions, and through music you can communicate moods, emotions. But for some it is something more. In Bethlehem, after 2 years of lessons, a group of 20 Palestinian students and professionals have completed the music therapy course, You Will Find Me in the Sound, a project promoted by ATS Pro Terra Sancta, which has seen the collaboration of the University of Bethlehem, the Italian Association Music Prima, the SPAEE Center, Service of Psychology and Learning and Education of the Developmental Age, of the Catholic University of Milan, Real Monte Association and Elice Association. Professors and university lecturers of international and local importance have had the opportunity to guide these students in learning the psychological, pedagogical, and scientific knowledge related to the use of music therapy techniques.
Una formazione in musicoterapia non è la formazione per chi vuole animare.
A training in music therapy is not a training for those who want to animate a moment with music. It is a training in which the student learns to have therapeutic goals, to take care of himself, of others, and to establish good relationships.
Impara a aver cura di se stesso e degli altri.
Music therapy is a discipline which uses music, sounds and silences to promote the psychological and physical well-being of a person. And this course arrived in Bethlehem in response to a local need due to the ongoing conflict situation.
It's important for our society to get out of the trauma we experience every day.
Per noi, come lavoro di ATS Pro Terra Santa, è ancora
For us at ATS, it is an opportunity to support people, especially those who have to take care of others. We can also support in training, give attention to patients, accompany people, especially those called to serve others in various works.
quelli che sono chiamati a servire gli altri nelle varie opere.
It is an important musical dialogue between West and East, because it's not just a matter of having to do, but knowing how to do.
There are many elderly people who suffer from psychological changes due to their age, and who are so happy to meet us. They waited for us and asked us why we didn't go to them every day, instead of just twice a week. We perceived their positive reaction from their body language.
Per poter diventare una persona importante.
So that they can become important to their patients, to help them, guide them and listen
Sa
to them.
guidarli, sa ascoltarli.
Baby, I